All right, we're here at the 2024 preview of gear at, I guess it wouldn't be Surf Expo anymore. It's the AWSI trade show here in Hood River.
Yep.
I'm John Bria, the publisher of Kitesurfing magazine and Wingsurfing magazine. And we're here with the CEO of Aluula and Ocean Rodeo, Richard Myerscough, and he's going to walk us through the new lineup and talk a little bit about the gear.
Awesome. Well, thank you, John, for coming and checking out the new gear. So we can go through the wings first, if you'd like.
Cool.
Yeah. So we actually, this is the new AA series glide wing. So that was actually launched later this summer. And first off, the really interesting thing about this wing is the entire wing, the airframe, canopy, bladders, are all recycle ready. So this is I believe, a first in the industry. So what that means, when you make a kite or a wing, you get about 85% efficiency when you're making the product. And so there's about 15% of that product ends up waste. Typically that waste goes into the landfill. What we're doing is we're working with our factory partners. We're collecting that scrap, so I'd call that clean waste. We're gathering that, and then we're bringing it back to the Aluula factory, where we're recycling that and putting it into a new fiberboard product that we've developed. So that's pretty new for our industry. So recycle ready. This particular material here is called Aeris X on the airframe, and what this is, there's a woven Aluula core weave in there. It does start with ultra high molecular weight fibers, and then we use a fusion technique, and then we use an X weave, which stabilizes the material on the warp, weft, and bias. So this is actually our stiffest material, and again recyclable. This weighs 86 grams per square meter. The Aluula Gold, that's very popular now, you're seeing that showing up with a lot of premium brands. That's I'd call this our meat and potato product. It's now been on the market just about 5 years, proven, and it comes in at 82 grams. Unfortunately, the gold film, we can't recycle that one, so this is our attempt to try to get, up to the gold standard. So a little bit heavier. Then we've got the Aeris X canopy right here. This is 48 grams, and to put that into context, a typical canopy polyester is coming in at about 54 to 58 grams per square meter. So this is about 30% lighter. We have this in 48, and then on the kites that you'll see shortly, we've got it in a 38 GSM version. So we're really starting to take the weights down in the canopies, and the strengths are going way up. If you look on the Ocean Rodeo website, you'll see comparisons. They're sort of 6 times stronger for tear resistance, way better UV resistance, and again recyclable. So that's the Aeris X line. So you'll notice the panel layout on these. We use a radial cut, and what's happening there is we're lining up the warp and weft fibers of the materials. It's all designed to work with this new technology in composite. So, the traditional panel layouts don't work. You've got to actually line it up. So you'll see a lot more of this. You'll notice it on the kites as well. Inside the airframe, we've got the new, you can't see it, but inside here is the new Bladder from Aluula. And it weighs 45 grams per square meter. The industry standard is an 80 micron PU film. That comes in at 98 grams per square meter. So this bladder is half the weight, and the strength is just about the same as the film that's twice as heavy. So really excited about this. So all the wings that we've got here, all the AA series for 2024 feature the new bladders in them. So weight savings is phenomenal. I'd have to look on the website for the weights, but these things are just so ridiculously light. It's crazy. So John, you'll have to take one for a rep.
So going with the radial cut, was that to be able to control the tension through it?
Yeah. So what happens with these sort of technical ultra high molecular weight PE fibers? They when you fold and crumple the material will actually hold a little crease, and that's very common. You can't get away from that. So what you have to do when you design a product, you have to design around this. It's a buckling feature of the material. So we design around the buckling that happens with the cloth, and so it's taken us a long time to figure this out, but we're there. So very excited about it. Other new features, all new seam construction. You'll see last year all of our products featured what's called a ridge seam, and that was, when you're trying to make these tubes withstand high pressures, you have to be very careful of what's called seam creep, and that's where the threads under high PSI, they start to rake the fibers apart in the composites. So it's really important to have a woven composite first off, and then the tape is very important. What we've managed to do, Aluula's come up with a really, really strong, very fine fiber tape for the seams. So you'll see that showing up on other brands as well. It's just making the construction a lot easier for everybody to work with it. It's also exactly the same seam technique used on the traditional Dacron kite. So if you ever did need to repair this, it's much easier to repair now. The traditional ridge seam was incredibly strong, but it is tricky for a repair shop to work with. So we've overcome that one. The struts are new on our wings, so we've actually shifted the center strut down slightly onto the leading edge, giving the leading edge a little bit more support. And then we've added, this is called Duralite. This is without a doubt the world's strongest material, period. We know that. It actually won the best fabric at ISPO a couple of years ago for the strongest material. This is a pure ultra-high molecular weight material, films, and then the weaves. Highly abrasion resistant. And what this is doing is protecting abrasion on the handles, because we have our removable matrix handle system. So this is just the toughest composite we've got to protect. So
if people want to see a demonstration of this being taken on and off, we actually have it on last year's video.
Okay,
so
great.
I'll
So I
link
won't
that
bother
in the
doing
video.
that. This is also the new 43 centimeter handle. Over the last year, a lot of people were asking for EVA grip, thinner grip, and a longer handle. So we've come up with 43 centimeter EVA wrapped and a thinner diameter, so a little more comfortable for some.
That's a great improvement. I definitely found the older grip without any EVA on there was a little slippery with if I put sunscreen on and then went winging, I found it a little slippery.
Yeah, so here's a tip for everybody out there. If you have problems gripping a handle, any handle, whether it's a webbing, any brand, surfboard wax works like a charm. Just a couple of strokes of surfboard wax and off you go.
Nice top tip.
So it's a tech tip. I showed this last year. It was sort of in the pre-production phase, but this is now in production. All Ocean Rodeo wings come with the quick click system. Really nice for installing, quickly removing your leash. If you're using an ankle leash to your board, if you get a tangle between your wrist leash and ankle leash, you can just unclick this and unwrap everything and then snap it back together. So really a nice little innovation. Makes the sport more enjoyable, easier to do. Infill panel. I should talk about this. So this is another new composite. These materials, the Aeris X, are all very, very stiff, very strong. And then when you have the material between the canopy and the strut, you want something with a little bit of flex as the canopy's working and luffing and doing its thing. So this is called Graphite. It's also Aluula. And it's got a nice memory. It's actually a material that's starting to be used a lot in the outdoor market, so it's got a nice stretch and return. It's very tough. So this is Graphite. So we've got on here actually 4 different types of materials, which is quite interesting. Different weights as well. So the leading edge is 86 in the center section, very stiff. And then what we've done down on the wingtips, we go to 74. Pure Aeris, it hasn't got the X-ply in it, and that allows the wingtips to twist off. So when you're getting hit with an overpowering gust, the tips are flexing out and not buckling in. So you get a lot more wind range out of these wings than traditional wings. So, trying to think what else we've got.
So you've had a lot of success on the race course.
Yeah. So Matthys is actually here. Matthys Gio. So Matthys is won the 2-time world champion now. He is racing our stock glide. It's actually this glide right here with a traditional canopy, and he's just getting his quiver of full quiver of Aeris X wings now for the race season coming up. So we're quite excited to see how he does.
Yeah. What do you think it is performance-wise within the design of your wings that makes them so competitive on the race course?
It's the there's a lot going on. We have really in wing foiling there's sort of a trend to have a more squat, square, shorter wingspan shape for freestyle and wave riding. And then there's a free ride shape, which is, I would call this. This would be a free ride, sort of, it's very fast. It's not really, it's not designed just to get you out of the water easily. It's designed for when you're up and riding. So this type of a wing, you need a little more technique to get up on foil, but once you're up, it's a lot more controllable, a lot faster. It really locks in. Some of the wings that are great for a beginner might have a very, very thick, deep draft, but once you're up on foil, everything starts backwinding and getting harder to control. So what you've got here for Matthys is a little higher aspect than a pure freestyle wing, a little faster, points higher, super, super light for all the handling and maneuvers, so he can get up and ride, quite often in much lighter wind than his competitors, while still using a super small, fast foil. So yeah.
You guys have opted not to go with a one pump system where you've got the two inflation valves.
Yeah, that's right. So we, this material is so stiff. What we're finding, in lighter winds, we're pumping it up lower PSI to get more flex for pumping. And then as the wind increases, you increase the PSI, and then you can really get a huge wind range out of these. So, I would say, they cost more. They do. The materials cost more, but really, a 5 meter and a 3 meter has a huge wind range. Almost a 2-wing quiver now, with the advancement in the foils too, the higher aspect foils. So it's interesting to see how the sport's evolving.
Yeah. So with the 5 meter for the lightest winds, you'd be using one of the downwind style boards.
Exactly. Downwind, stand-up, SUP foil type board, the new modern ones. The high aspect foil, 5 meter, you're going in anything. These things are so light. I mean, this wing here is this is a 4 meter. I believe our 5 meter is under 3 pounds. So it's just crazy, the weight. So
that's crazy light.
So that's and then you can change your PSI. So that's a big deal.
Yeah. So how low would you go on the leading edge PSI in the lightest winds?
It depends on the size, but it's not really on the gauge. It's kind of the feeling you'll learn. But 8 is this is about 8. So I would say probably 7. 7 range.
Yeah. And then when it's really windy,
crank it right up to whatever you can stick in the airframe.
Can you ever go too high?
No. I mean, it's not gonna pop. So when we do our inflation tests, we can pump these up so hard. What will blow at incredibly high PSI is the Velcro ends will pop out. Your bladder will explode if you go crazy. But what can happen if you go super hard, and anything can break. Like when we started with Aluula, there was really the idea that they were so strong, and it's true, they are stronger than Dacron, but still, it's a high-performance material. If you pump it up super, super hard and just nick a sharp rock, it'll explode. I mean, all these materials will if you pump it up to 20 psi or something ridiculous. So there's a limit for sure.
Yeah. I've heard that some of the brands to try to compete with you have revived Cuban fiber. Is that true?
Yeah, Cuban fiber is it's been around a long time. It was originally from the America's Cup. It did come into kite surfing about 15 years ago with the Best brand, and they had a kite, or a wing. It was a kite, sorry. Winging wasn't even invented. A kite called the Hellfish. And I think the problem there was probably the seaming, and just hadn't gone all the way. It's a non-woven material. It's called toe spreading, so the fibers aren't interlocking. So what happens is when it can happen if you're not careful with the seams, it can actually kind of separate those fibers. But so the material is known as Cuban fiber or DSM composite material. It's the same thing. And it's been around in sailing. They still use it in sailing. So yeah, we can't offer, unfortunately, we can't offer Aluula to every single brand. So we're working with, brands that we think are going to do a great job with Aluula. So yeah, competitors are going to look for alternatives to compete.
Yeah. So you guys started your R&D with with the Aluula material really, like, well, from day one, because you invented it.
Yeah.
Have you been sharing any of your R&D research about seaming and just overall design with the other brands?
If I put my Aluula hat on, what we do is we really work with all our brand partners, and we really help them along. So a lot of the seaming techniques are some of them are we've patented some of them actually, and we share all that with our brand partners. We help as best we can because we want them to be successful, obviously. So yeah, there's a lot of cross-pollination going on in the design side, and and we also learn gosh, look at Duotone. How lucky are we to have Duotone as a brand partner? They're an amazing design team. So, and some of the new brands that are showing up here, amazing teams. So yeah.
Aluula recently just went public on the stock market. What was that process like?
Oh gosh, that was very exciting. We were approached by it's called an RTO. It's a reverse takeover. So it took almost a year. It's very intense and a lot of hoops to jump through, but it was a great experience, and it's really nice now because our business is it's growing quickly, not just in wind sports, but we're in outdoor, we're in aerospace, and having to build new machines. So it's great to have better financing, and I've got an incredible board of directors, diverse board of directors from other industries. So it's so far so good. Loving it, actually. It's really fun. Yeah.
I think when we talk about stocks, we have to do full disclosure. I do not own any of the stock at this point, but I'm guessing you own quite a bit of the stock.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's still actually quite tightly held public company. So it's good fun.
Yeah. What's the ticker symbol and what stock market is it on?
The ticker symbol is AUUA. So just think Aluula Gold. It's the AU is the atomic symbol for gold, Aluula Gold. So it's a palindrome, goes back to front like the Aluula word. So so there you go. Check it out online. We're on the TSX.
Cool. We'll put a link in the video so everyone can check it out.
Okay. Yeah. This is the new single A. So last year we launched. This is the original glide that in the previous 2 or 3 years, I think it's 3 years now actually, we were using traditional canopy material with. So we are now completely away from using polyester ripstop on our wings. So this is a composite made by Aluula. This hasn't got the X weave in it, so it's a little heavier to get the stiffness we need. It's a little heavier than the X material, but it's less expensive for us to make. So this is our, I would say, a mid-priced canopy material. It's just called Aeris. There's no X weave, so that actually saves a fair amount in the manufacturing process. So we're excited because this wing will be in a similar price range as our current A series, which is really exciting. So customers will be able to get a full composite wing next year. This canopy is, 6 to 10 times stronger in terms of tear resistance than traditional canopy. It's way stiffer. You get a way bigger wind range. It's just really fun to use this wing. It's also heat repairable. So if you did tear this, like if you put a hydrofoil through this, the tears don't propagate, so they'll stop, and then you just need an iron and our heat patch kit, and you can actually just fix it. It's sort of on the site. Whoa, there goes some wings. So really excited about this. This is using, our gold A series. Again, this is a fantastic composite. We're on our fifth generation of this gold now. It just keeps improving and improving. So we're offering that in the A series. Other than that, it's got the new strut design, so it's slightly different. It's got the graphite infill panel and the Duralite pads for the matrix handle system. So essentially, it's the same wing design, but it's about 1 pound heavier than the double A. So you're just not quite as light. So otherwise, very tough, high performance wing. Yeah.
Performance-wise on the water, apart from the weight, does it feel like there's a big difference between the two? Like, would people notice a huge difference, or is it?
I think you notice it in light air. I mean, they're both incredibly light. So,
Yeah.
like, you're going to notice it either one if you're coming from Dacron. You're going to. I had an example earlier, so just so people know, these are half the weight of Dacron and polyester ripstop. They're half the weight. That's even crazier. The bigger you go, too, the lighter they get in relation to, a 7-meter Dacron polyester wing versus a 7-meter AA is, I think ours are less than half the weight. So it's a big difference in light air. Yeah.
Wow, that is a huge
Flagging
difference.
out. Yeah. So this just has regular PU bladders. The Aluula Atom bladders are more expensive to make the films, so they cost a bit more. But this keeps this. The bladders are excellent. We've gone tested, really proven airframe, and yeah. So there you go.
Sweet.
New single A.
That's
Okay.
beautiful looking.
Yeah, not fun. You have to take this one out for a burn.
Definitely will today. Yeah, the wind's
Yeah.
coming up too. Should be good.
Yeah. The other thing is applying graphics is really hard with Aluula. So nothing likes to stick to this. So you'll notice our wings look kind of, not a lot of silk screening. That's the main reason. Also, ink is quite heavy, believe it or not. So we don't like adding any weight if we don't have to. We're working on techniques. I think in the next 6 months we'll be able to do some beautiful screening on these if needed. So, but pure technology.
Cool.
I don't think there's anything else. You want to hold it? Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's nice and light and really balanced. Too,
Yeah,
huh?
isn't that nice?
Oh, that'd be a dream to flag out on the water.
Yeah,
Oh.
no, it's really fun. So, what else we got? We do have some other interesting things coming too, but I'll have to save that for next time.
Yeah, so you guys are based in Victoria, so you get out into like some nice ocean swell.
Yeah,
doing your
we're in
testing there?
Victoria, British Columbia. We get thermal winds, of course, down Wanapeka Strait. A bit like the gorge, not quite as consistent, but it's pretty good. And we have big tides in Victoria, and we get a lot of big standing chop. So it's fantastic for developing wing foiling equipment. Yeah. Everybody on staff is learning to wing foil too. It's great. It's really fun. Yeah. Even our chemists and engineers are all taking it up. So yeah.
That was a sneak peek of the A series glide 2.0. So the next generation
Oh,
of the A series glide.
we also have composite bags.
If you've seen the previous A series,
Reese, you can talk about the Crave. You can talk the Crave if you want.
Oh no. Okay.
Oh, here we are.
in 2020, we launched this with a lightweight Aeris as well.
So
So we're getting
all the bags going into 2024 for Ocean Rodeo are made with the new Aluula Graphite Composite. So this is something we've designed for the outdoor market, but we've got an inside scoop, so we get it in our kite bags, kite wing bags. So it's very light, incredibly tough, and yeah, just a very, very cool pack. So
I've definitely noticed.
fully recyclable.
I've noticed from my traveling that I used to always have problems with my bags being way overweight, and I'd
Yeah.
always overpack them. And since I've started traveling with Ocean Rodeo gear, like my bags are never even close to
Oh,
like
that's
the
good.
limit.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and we have lots of other exciting innovations coming that we'll reveal in the next 6 months. But there's a lot outside of kites, actually, that is, I think, going to be really exciting for traveling. Things that are hard to travel with. So, yeah, it's good stuff.
Cool. We'll keep our ears peeled
Yes,
for that news. As it
always
comes.
something new.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Richard.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
thank you.